Hello and welcome back to the Tarot with Titania reading of the week for August 25th to September 1st, 2023. We've moved now from Leo, expansive Leo centered in the heart, into Virgo, which is a little bit more particular. It's that back to school energy. It'll be interesting to see how that shows up in the reading today. And so with that, I invite you to close your eyes and take 3 nice deep breaths with me. With each breath, pulling in your energy from wherever it's been, pulling it back to you, to your heart, to your beingness. And see yourself surrounded by a sphere of golden light, or whatever color is important to you, or significant to you, or feels appropriate for you. And as those bits of energy come back to you, they come through the wall of that color and are cleared and purified so that it's all you. And whatever belongs to anyone else goes back to them. And now imagine that beautiful tree root coming down out of the base of your spine, going down deep into Mother Earth and grounding you here and now in this present moment. Knowing that that tree root is an opportunity and a channel through which anything that no longer serves you at this time can easily pass down into Mother Earth and become compost for your new good growth. Creator, this is your daughter Titania, and I'm here with all of your children, and we are about to do your reading, a reading for this week, August 25th to September 1st, 2023. My intention is to be a clear channel for the information we most need to receive right now for our personal and our collective highest and greatest good. I call upon my higher self and the higher selves of all of those listening so that we all here are gathered in a good way, bringing our best energy forward to create this field of light and energy through which this reading and this information can come unimpeded, clear, clean, helpful, and inspired. I'd like to thank the overlighting angel of communication for being here and for facilitating this exchange and ensuring that it happens the highest and best way possible, and that we cover all that is in our hearts and minds at this time to our satisfaction in the window that we have here together today. I want to thank the 4 archangels for coming and holding the 4 directions. I invite Raphael to hold the east, Michael to hold the south, Gabriel to hold the west, and Uriel to hold the north. Thank you for creating a container of light around each and every one of us, and collectively as a field of individuals participating in this reading now and in the future, that we are all gathered together, our energies and intentions aligned for our personal and collective highest and greatest good. Anything that doesn't match the frequencies and intentions of love, of light, of clarity, of wisdom, of healing, of transformation, of peace is welcome to go now. Let's get going. Okay, Creator, what is it that we most need to know this week for our good and the good of everyone with whom we interact? The good of this beautiful planet. How do we rise and bring our best forward and heal all the hurt, all the damage, all the suffering? What can we do to alleviate that in the world, to alleviate our own grief and our own fear and suffering so that we can bring our best to life, so that we can bring light to our families and our communities and help to transform this field of energy at this time on this planet for the good of all, the highest and greatest good of all. Okay. We're starting with the cleanup card, the pruning card, the Ace of Swords, that we are all so familiar with. This has been the theme of the past few years, and it clearly is reminding us we have to stay on our game. So we know what it means. We know what it takes to clean things up. keep things clean and clear and light. This is sitting in the recent past. It means, or aspects of our past. We know this. This is what this is telling us. We've done this. We know this. We're familiar with this. And it's important and relevant to our now. So that pruning of the tree of life, of our tree of life, all the dead, diseased, and crossing branches, those things that are very clearly out of whack need to go. That's where we start. Once those are out of the way, then we can assess the structure of our tree of life and prune to ensure maximum light, air, and circulation among the branches and leaves of our tree so that we can have a healthy life force. And so this, as I said, is relevant this week, very important going forward. I also wanted to mention that we went into Mercury retrograde on Wednesday. That'll continue until, I believe, the 15th of September. So at this time, it's just important to just take special care when you are committing to anything. Finding out the details, clarifying for yourself what your responsibilities are, what it is that you're committing to, so that you can bring your best and not be surprised later. So Mercury retrograde is about communication. It's about doing things well, taking time to review things so we do them well. There's probably a lot more to it than that, but that's the gist of it. The present card in our reading right now is the card of protection, of legacy, of this is the energy of those estates that go back a long way. Each generation brings their own unique flavor to it. And some do it well, some do it not so well, but it's this idea of a line, a lineage. And we are all the outcome of a lineage, even if we're adopted. We are all part of the human family. And we are part of unique threads of the human family, but ultimately we are all part of the human family. And it's important to remember this. And so this card, the Ten of Pentacles, Pentacles is the earth element. It's the land. It's the stuff of life. It's beauty. It's harvest, it's community, it's family. These are worth cherishing. These are worth protecting. These are worth investing in. Considering 7 generations hence, the children that will come. We need to be considering them and doing our best, not just for ourselves, but for those who will come after us. Even if we don't have children, we have a responsibility to the future of all life on this planet. So this card is about this energy of consideration of what is beyond us, what came before us, gratitude and appreciation for what came before, and care and consideration and attention to that which we are bringing to life now and will ensue into later years. It's very important for us also this isn't just about the stuff of life. This is also about the energy that we're bringing to life at this time. It doesn't help anyone for us to go into fear. It doesn't help anyone for us to go into doubt and uncertainty. There is a lot going on right now. There's a lot of heavy energy. There's a lot of destruction and upset, understandably. But if we're in a relatively stable place, it's really important to the best of our abilities not to go down the path of despair or fear or anger or any of those intense emotions. And I know we're human, we have them. Notice it. Don't descend in the hole. Don't fall in the hole with those emotions. Notice you're having them. Breathe through them. Be with them. Be the observer. Be bigger than the emotions. And know that we help to hold the good when we can stay clean and clear and neutral. And that's what this card is reminding us. We have to do our work. We have to keep our own lives and our own field clear so that we can hold this energy in a good way, so that we can be clear enough to consider not just us, but the bigger picture and our place in it, and bring our love to life. Because that's so much part. Love is the foundational energy of the universe. And when we can stay in our appreciation and our love and our gratitude to the best of our ability, I'm not saying it's easy, but to the best of our ability, when we can do that, we are contributing positively to shifting energy in a good way. You have to remember our planet also operates from that frequency of love. So when we have love for her, when we have love and appreciation for all the good around us, it helps to nourish her as well. excuse me, near future. Generosity. So the card of generosity, flowing our love into the world, flowing our appreciation, our goodness. A little bit of just what we were talking about, having the wherewithal to stay lofty, clean and clear, and intentional, so that we can be this space of holding the world in a good way, of holding each other in a good way. That energy of generosity. Now, I want to just be clear, generosity doesn't mean you're emptying your personal tank, because you're no good to life or to anyone if you are depleted. Really, really important. Self-care has to come first. It's like they say in the airplane, put your own mask first, then turn to your neighbor. We have to make sure that we're functional. We have to make sure that we're on it, that we're healthy and cared for, so that we can in turn bring our best to each other through this energy of generosity, through our gifts, through our abilities, through what we feel called to. Not the have-tos, not the shoulds, but this feels appropriate. This feels congruent. This feels in alignment. I have resources to give here, whether that's my time, whether that's my energy, whether that's just my attention and my love. All of that is very, very important. But from this beautiful energy of generosity, of flowing from that space of giving our gifts to life in whatever way is most appropriate in your unique experience, in my unique experience. We're all here doing it differently, but remembering we have to be generous to ourselves first. Then we have the energy and the bandwidth and the resources to come around and help others. Because of course we are one human family. And remembering that, and that the earth is our home. We need to take care of her to the best of our ability. And we can do that, as I said, through our care and our attention and our energy. So, foundation card for this week is anxiety. That's why we're having the reading today, which is understandable. There is a lot of this going on. It's been one thing after the other in our world. And there's always some other new thing there to poke and prod at our fear and anxiety. And I encourage you, I invite you to get curious about that, to take a step back and look at each new crisis as it surfaces and ask yourself, what is the purpose of this? Because like I said before, we cannot feel bad enough to change anything. We cannot suffer enough to change anything for anybody else. We have to stay centered and grounded. Have to. It's a choice. We can choose to do whatever we want. We can follow in the hole of misery and wallow there, and perhaps not be the best contributor to the collective field of consciousness, or we can choose to bless and love and appreciate where we are. But this energy of anxiety, why are we being provoked here? What does that mean? Where does that come from? What is the benefit to the collective field? You know, that's one of my big beefs with our news outlets, whatever they may be. It doesn't leave us peaceful and grounded and centered and confident that we have this, that we are solving things. It leaves us feeling anxious and groundless and fearful and tense and stressed, which does not help us to hold clean and clear energy for the future. This time is pushing us into mastery. We need to become aware of ourselves and how we respond to the incoming information from the outer world. And we have a choice about how we are going to respond to that. If it was a theater, you would know you were watching a play. And I'm not saying that to diminish the energy and the experiences of everyone out there who's going through a hard time, because definitely there's stuff going on. But what I do want to encourage is creating some space, creating some thoughtful, grounded, peaceful, centered space, so that there is a clearing for wisdom, for grounding, for peace, for well-being, so that we can all respond in a different way to life, to those around us, to the challenges that we face. We are tremendously resilient. We are far more than we appear to be. We just need to access that. So, yes, anxiety. Yes, it's why we're having the reading this week. It's up. Let's face it. First it was COVID, then it's the war in Ukraine. Now we have fires and whatever else is going on. One thing after another, keeping us in a constant state of depletion and fear, angst, anxiety, and stress. We get to choose how are we responding to that. We don't have to be at the effect of the kind of messaging that's being bombarded at us. Because let's face it, that's how it works. So, what are we choosing to keep ourselves centered and grounded so that we can be and bring the best that we are to life? Again, in our own families and our own communities, right here, right now. Who are we being? How are we being? How do we bring our best to life? How do we love this earth? The other thing I just wanted to share, if you're somewhere, well, wherever you are, we can all pray rain. And it's going to sound a little odd. Some of you may be familiar with the work of Greg Braden, but he talked about this energy of praying rain when there's a drought. And it's not praying for it, because when you pray for something, you're noticing the absence of it. What you do is you pray rain. You get into the frequency and the energy of rain. What does it feel like? What does it smell like? What is the texture on the skin? What do you hear? Getting into that state of visualization and mindfulness, and then being grateful. The energy of gratitude for that rain. And I'm just going to throw that out there for those of you who want to play with that, but just helping to pull the energy of rain, moisture, although I suppose if you're in California, you just had a lot of it, you don't want that. But you understand what I mean. We as children of the earth are connected to everything. It's time for us to start using our abilities to counter and to support the natural flow of life. There's a lot more I guess I could be said around this, but I just want to start putting some pebbles into our collective pond, creating some ripples about understanding that when we are in a state of stress and fear and wringing our hands and worry, we are not cooperative components to resolution, to healing, to possibility. It shuts us down from our power. It doesn't serve anyone. We need to stay congruent. We need to stay clean and clear. We need to stay on our purpose. So if you can remember that this week in particular, as I said, there's sort of this energy that's building. We can start to take a step back, reclaim our focus, our energy, our will, our attention, our energy, our intention, and start to create something different in our experience. It's different than we've been doing things as humanity, but we do have it within us. And this is what we're being called to do right now. This is mastery. This is what it's about. Okay, so let's pull the card to grow on for this week. So keep it clean and clear. Conscious, loving consciousness of the lineage that we come from. Appreciation and gratitude for those who come before, for our ancestors, our grandmothers, our grandfathers. Calling on their energy to help us to be our best right now. We have to remember that we are surrounded by, we're surrounded by help and support, but we need to remember to ask for it. And when we do, we can step into our best and consider the generations that are to come, and to consider them in all of our creations, in all of our participation with life, so that we're doing things in a good way. Right now, our world's pretty messed up. We've done things in toxic, dysfunctional ways for a long time. We need new inspiration. It almost feels like there isn't any alternative. But that's not true. Six of Pentacles, excuse me. Generosity, the energy of generosity, flowing the love, flowing the gratitude, flowing the appreciation, doing it in a way that is congruent with our own needs and our own capacity to give, so that we're not tapping ourselves out and emptying ourselves and depleting ourselves, so that we get empty and depressed and can't hold our center. You see, it's really important. It's really important. Our self-care piece is very important, so that we have the capacity to do all these other pieces. And then, of course, uppermost right now, anxiety on the planet collectively. How are you responding to the anxiety? What are you doing constructively to support yourself in staying centered and grounded and peaceful and neutral and rising above the provocation of our time? Okay, so we know those are the cards for the moment. Interesting. Energy is very strong today. The messages are really strong. What's our card to grow on this week? What is it that we need to keep before us? The energy, the attention, so that we can stay centered and positive, resilient, resourceful. Take some time to heal and ground ourselves. What is our card to grow in Creator so we can be our best? Sorrow. 3 of Swords. It's not easy. I get it. We all get it. We know it's not easy, and we're doing our best. We are humans. Humans rising from believing in the limitation of what we've been told we are, the limitation of the field of energy that's kept us smaller than we really are. And as a result of that, we fall in the hole and we wallow, and we have this intense experience of emotions, which can be really difficult. Let's face it. If we didn't have to deal with our feelings and our emotions, well, we'd be like robots, I suppose. But imagine what we'd get done if we didn't spend all this time worrying and doubting and fearing and having all of these feelings, or just feeling uncertain and unsettled. Imagine if you could harness all that energy and put it in a different direction. So I don't want to diminish our humanness, because the emotional experience of being human is profound and it is rich and it is the spice of life. And we are not our emotions. They are simply part of the experience of being human. So rising again, finding that space to remember to take the deep breath. Come back to the self, come back to the heart, ground. Step outside if you can, bare feet in the grass, in the water, connect to nature. It's a profound way of grounding, of anchoring one's energy, of clearing out the field very quickly. Our card to grow on this week is reminding us that when we're feeling this way, even though we're feeling this way, there is gold in the experience. So don't despair. Don't fall in the hole and think there's no point to anything and this is all going to hell in a handbasket. It's all in service to us. It's all for us. There is good in everything. So even if you are in a deeper, darker, heavier place, just remember something in that is serving you. And I would encourage you to pivot towards what's there for me. How is this in service to me? What is the good in this experience? What do I appreciate here? What do I see that is positive and good? Because by focusing on that, you're pulling yourself out of the hole. It might not be overnight. It might not be immediate. For some of you, it might be, because you might not be so deeply in the hole. But just start looking for the light. Start looking for the beauty. Start looking for what you feel good about, you appreciate, what's nourishing you. Just notice, because there is something there. Even if it's just the way a ray of light goes through a blade of grass. There's something there that is transformative, that opens our heart, that reminds us of the beauty and the light and the gorgeous quality of this experience. But we have to get out of the hole first. So it's all about our attention. It's all about our focus. What are we giving our energy and our attention to? It's also about the breath. Deep breath, coming home to our bodies. We get up in our minds, we forget about the body, and we just get into that crazy field of the collective consciousness, which is up, down, all around. You got it. If you're not disciplined about it, you're going to go for a crazy ride. Through the body, and we've talked about this before in these readings, through the body is your ground. The body and nature and breath. We want to be in our bodies right now. This is why we are embodied in human form. I mean, have you ever wondered why you have a body? Like, what's the point of that? It's because it's important to this human experience. It's important to feel everything. It's important to be connected to each other through our senses, through our experiences. we are adding into the field of life through our unique experience of humanity. So it's a big, big thing. Far more important than I think we've ever realized. And there's a lot to being human. Let's face it. Sometimes it sucks. But what this card is reminding us is that even when it's really heavy, look for the gold. Look for the good. Whatever that small thing is, pivot. Where attention goes, energy flows. You've heard that before, and that's what we're talking about. It's about getting masterful enough that we pull ourselves out of whatever dark headspace and state we're in and deliberately refocus in a positive and authentic and supportive and generative direction, because then a momentum builds. It takes a long time if you have a regular practice of thinking negative thoughts, of thinking heavy thoughts, of being in a dense place. It's not going to happen overnight. It's like a cruise ship that has a lot of momentum. You don't turn a cruise ship as quickly as you can turn a powerboat. There's a lot of energy and momentum there. But you start a little bit and it starts to pivot. It starts to pivot a little bit more. And before you know it, you're moving in a completely different direction that is more resourceful, supportive, helpful. It's all about us. It's all about us. We get to choose. Where are we putting our attention and our energy? Are we suffering, or are we bringing light to the world? Are we bringing light to ourselves, to those we love, to our communities? Are we being a clearing for the good? It's up to us. What do you choose? And so with that, my dears, I wish you a beautiful week. Let's take a deep breath together and close the reading. Coming home to that beautiful body that is you. Gratitude for this expression of you, this unique, brilliant expression of each of us that will never be again. We will never experience ourselves in this way ever again. Precious and fleeting, important and beautiful. We can come home to ourselves with that breath at any moment. If it helps, put your hand on your heart. Just remember, you are a spiritual being having a human experience. This is a rare and precious treat, an opportunity, and it's deeply challenging. Creator, this is your daughter Titania. I want to thank you for the opportunity to do this reading today for our personal and our collective highest and greatest good. May this reading, this message, find its way to those who need it at this time, in service, in generous service to life, to our best, to the good that we are holding as individuals and as a collective for this beautiful planet we call home, and for our collective future 7 generations hence. Much appreciation and gratitude to the grandmothers, the grandfathers, all those who came before us, all those who helped to hold space in beautiful ways for life, even if they weren't parents themselves. I express gratitude and appreciation for their care, for their love, for their consideration of those who would come. And I ask that we each heal in good ways so that we can bring awareness and intention and consideration for those who will come after us into each decision that we make, so that we can heal this planet and make it beautiful again and recover all the good that is here, undo whatever damage we're doing, and work with nature in harmony with her for our good and the good of all those who will come after us and all life here on this planet. Thank you, Creator, for this opportunity to be of service. Thank you for each and every individual who's on this call now and in the future. You are important. Your frequency, your attention, your energy, what you choose is deeply important. Never underestimate your day in, day out life and your ability to just bring your best to life. My grandmother used to say, make everything that you do like a prayer to the divine. Whatever your belief system, if you make everything that you do a sacred act and come from that energy and attention and intention, you can't help but transform your experience and the experience of those around you, because it becomes sacred, and life is sacred. With that, my friends, I wish you a beautiful week, and I will see you next Friday. Much love. Bye for now.